Two foods. That's all the Vikings needed to cross the most dangerous ocean on Earth, the Atlantic, in open wooden boats, with no refrigeration, no canned food, no supply ships. Just 30 men, a single longship, and a journey that lasted 3 weeks across the freezing, storm-cursed North Atlantic. And here's the part that will blow your mind. The Vikings did this 500 years before Christopher Columbus. They reached Iceland, they reached Greenland, they even reached North America, all powered by just two foods. Foods you can still buy at a grocery store today for under $20. This is the story of Skyr and stockfish, the two food system that conquered the Atlantic. Let's go back to around 870 AD, Scandinavia, the harsh lands of modern Norway. The Vikings are at the peak of their power, but they're running out of land. The fjords are crowded, the farms are running out of space. So a small group of Norse explorers decide to do something nobody in human history has ever attempted. They are going to sail west, across the open Atlantic, into nothing, with no map, just wind, stars, and the sea ahead. But here's the problem. The Atlantic crossing from Norway to Iceland takes about 3 weeks in a Viking longship. From Iceland to Greenland adds another 2 weeks. From Greenland to North America adds another 2. That's potentially 7 straight weeks at sea with a crew of 30 men. Each man needs at least 2,000 calories a day just to survive the cold and physical labour. That's roughly 1.2 million calories needed for a single Atlantic crossing, with no refrigeration, no fire allowed on a wooden ship full of tar. How do you feed 30 men for almost a month on a tiny wooden boat with no kitchen? The Vikings solved this problem with two of the most brilliant food technologies ever invented: Skyr and stockfish. Let's start with stockfish. The Vikings figured out something incredible about their environment. The freezing, windy coast of Norway was a giant natural food dehydrator. They would catch massive amounts of cod during the fishing season. Then they would gut the fish, tie them in pairs by the tail, and hang them on wooden racks called hjell. Then they just waited for 2 to 3 months. The freezing wind dried the fish completely. The cold killed bacteria. The salt in the sea air preserved the flesh. No fire needed, no salt needed, no smoke needed, just wind and cold. The result was stockfish, a dried cod so hard you could literally hit a man with it like a club. So preserved it could last for up to 10 years without spoiling. So nutritionally dense that a single pound contained around 1,700 calories of pure protein and minerals. The Vikings would pack hundreds of pounds of stockfish into the bottom of their longships, stored carefully in the keel section to keep the boat balanced. To eat it, sailors would soak the stockfish in seawater for a few hours, then chew it raw, or they would pound it with a stone hammer until it broke into chewable fibres. The result was a tough, salty, protein-packed meal that could fuel a sailor for an entire day of rowing through brutal Atlantic storms. But protein alone isn't enough. The body needs fat, the body needs calcium, the body needs probiotics to handle weeks of stress and cold. That's where the second food came in: Skyr. Skyr is a thick, fermented dairy product that the Vikings made from sheep and cow milk. It's not yogurt, it's not cheese, it's something in between, with a sharp, tangy flavour and a thick, almost spreadable texture. The Vikings would heat fresh milk, add a small amount of old Skyr as a starter culture, and let it ferment in wooden barrels for several days. The fermentation process killed harmful bacteria and created a self-preserving food that could last for months without refrigeration. The acidity made it nearly impossible for dangerous microbes to grow. The Vikings would seal large barrels of Skyr and load them into their longships, stacked alongside the stockfish in the keel. And the nutritional combination was almost perfect. Skyr was loaded with protein, calcium for bones, healthy fats for energy and warmth, probiotic bacteria that kept the sailors' guts healthy during long voyages. Combine that with stockfish and you had the ultimate ocean survival diet. 2 foods, 1 ocean, total survival. Now here's where the story gets truly incredible. This 2-food system didn't just feed Viking sailors, it built entire civilizations. In 874 AD, a Norse explorer named Ingolfur Arnason set sail from Norway with his family, livestock, and a longship full of skyr and stockfish. He landed in Iceland. He built a settlement. Within a few decades, thousands of Vikings followed him. They created an entire society in one of the most isolated places on Earth. Then, in 9085 AD, a Viking named Erik the Red, exiled from Iceland for murder, sailed even further west. He led a fleet of 25 ships, hundreds of settlers, and tons of stockfish and skyr. He landed in Greenland and founded a Norse colony that survived for almost 500 years. And then came the biggest moment of all. Around 1000 AD, Erik's son, Leif Erikson, sailed even further. He crossed from Greenland to North America. He landed in what is now Newfoundland, Canada. He built a small settlement at a place called Meadows. This is the first confirmed European presence in the Americas, 500 years before Christopher Columbus. And the food that made it possible? You guessed it, skyr and stockfish. But here's something almost nobody talks about. Stockfish became one of the most valuable trade goods in medieval Europe. By the 1200s, Norway was exporting massive amounts of stockfish to England, Germany, the Netherlands, and even Italy. The famous Hanseatic League built much of its wealth on the stockfish trade. Italian merchants in Venice would buy Norwegian stockfish and sell it for huge profits. To this day, traditional Italian dishes like bacala are still made with the same dried Norwegian cod the Vikings invented over 1,000 years ago. And skyr? Skyr is having a global comeback right now. Walk into any major grocery store in the United States, Canada, the UK, or Australia, and you'll see skyr on the shelves. Brands like Siggy's have turned this 1,000-year-old Viking food into a billion-dollar industry. Modern athletes love it for its high protein content. Bodybuilders eat it for muscle recovery. Health food enthusiasts swear by its probiotics. The same fermented dairy that fueled Leif Erikson's voyage to North America is now sitting in millions of refrigerators across the world. Modern food scientists who have studied the Viking diet are amazed. The combination of skyr and stockfish provides nearly complete nutrition. High protein, healthy fats, calcium, B vitamins, iodine from the cod, probiotics from the skyr, long shelf life, no refrigeration needed, no cooking required. The Vikings had figured this out 1,000 years before food science existed as a discipline. And here's the part that will haunt you. The Vikings reached America 500 years before Columbus. They could have changed the entire course of world history, but they didn't. The Norse colonies in Greenland eventually died out around 1450 AD due to climate change and isolation. The settlements in Newfoundland were abandoned within a few decades. The knowledge of the Western lands faded. Until Columbus stumbled across the Caribbean in 1492, claiming to discover a continent the Vikings had already walked on 5 centuries earlier. But the food survived, skyr survived, stockfish survived. The two-food system that powered the greatest sea explorers of the medieval world is still alive today, still feeding people, still building athletes. Two foods that crossed an ocean, two foods that built civilizations, two foods that proved you don't need technology to do the impossible. So the next time you scoop up a spoonful of skyr or see dried cod in a market, remember this. You're holding the food that took the Vikings across the Atlantic 500 years before anyone thought it was possible. If this story amazed you, hit that subscribe button and join the Alternate Past family for more forgotten survival wisdom like this. And tell me in the comments, could you have crossed the Atlantic on skyr and stockfish for 3 weeks straight? Yes or no?